What's going on, everybody? How you doing? All right, today we are starting a donation request. This is Grateful Dead. This is the album American Beauty. Awesome album. Awesome. I love the one before this also, Working Man's Dead. Love it. Definitely two favorite Grateful Dead albums. This is a donation request for Rob. I don't know if I mentioned that. So I know this record, right? I have heard this record. But there was a time not that long ago that I did not know this record. And what triggered that was, if you watch my last video donation request, The Counting Crows, I mentioned that I played for this artist, one of the top party, private entertainers in the world, right? Most of the reason why you wouldn't have heard of them is because he didn't play public gigs, basically ever. I don't think I ever played a public gig with them. They were all private gigs. All kinds of private gigs. Wild private gigs, incredible access type of thing. Or if you're into golf, also we played all the golf events, all the PGA events. We played them all every year, and also we played these Super Bowl parties. So we would get flown to wherever the Super Bowl was that year, and the year that was in San Francisco, Bob Weir was there at the gig with Lukas Nelson, Willie Nelson's son. And who is the Grateful Dead roadie, died 2020? No. Sparky? Was it? No. Steve Parrish? This is probably how about 2021? No. Ramrod? Dang, what was his name? 2019. I don't think it was 2019. Dang. What was this guy's name? It wasn't this guy. Steve Parrish? Is there a photo of him? I feel like if I see him, I'm going to know who he is. Like a more recent. This guy. It was this guy. Who is this guy? Chris Cherokee. This guy was at the gig, and he came up to our band and was like, hey, to the bass player and the drummer, so me and the drummer, came up to us and was like, hey, Bob was looking for a rhythm section for a couple of songs. You want to sit in with him? And we were like, yup. Yup. So we go in and we meet with Bob, and he's like, do you know any of my music? And neither of us did. And for me, that was super embarrassing. I was just like, oh, God. This guy, I know this guy's a legend, and I don't know any of his music. Now, again, you can't know everybody's music. You can't, right? There's not enough time in life to know everybody's music. Whether it's alive people or dead people or like old artists, new artists, there's just not enough time. And up to that point, I lived in Boston, and I listened. People were into like Grateful Dead and into Fish. And when I heard Fish, I didn't like it. I was just like, no, this is not for me. And I lumped Grateful Dead in with Fish because I thought they're just like that, right? Stupid. But at the time, that's what it was. And also, I was in a band in Boston that we covered Brown Eyed Women, Grateful Dead, and I didn't like that song. I still am not crazy about that song. It kind of reminds me of The Weight by the band. It's just a song that has a zillion verses, and and it's just like, I just don't like it. It's not my favorite Grateful Dead song by any means. Anyways, we didn't know any of Bob Weir's music, but we got to sit in and play with him anyways. We played Not Fade Away, which he told us the chord. It was like probably the most basic thing that he did, that he could tell us more or less how it went, and we mostly wouldn't screw it up type of deal, right? Even though there are some little twists in there, basically. And we played, and it was fine. And, I got to play a couple songs with Bob Weir. That's cool. And Lukas Nelson. That's cool. Anyways, I remember this guy died a couple years later. That's why I was like, oh, what is his name? Because he came right up to us, you know, and asked. It was absolutely positively this guy. So after that, after playing with Bob Weir, I went home and I listened to Grateful Dead. I'm into Grateful Dead now. But that was like a super embarrassing moment for me where like this guy is a legend. I'm about to play with him and he's like, do you know any of my music? And me and the drummer are both like, no. And I can't speak for him, but for me, I was embarrassed. I was like, and Bob was like, you know, what, you know, okay. He was more just thinking like, okay, what am I going to do? What are we going to play? If you don't know any of my music, what are we going to play? What can I tell you guys? You know, what can we play that's going to be easy enough that's also going to work for this audience? Yeah, I could tell that he was going through that, which is probably why he picked Not Fade Away. I assume. So, anyways, and I'll throw a photo up of us. This is us backstage. He's talking to us about the song. He was eating some kind of like a tuna sandwich or like a fish sandwich or something. I just remember his breath smelled like fish. Anyways, very nice, you know, like nothing weird or anything like that. Yeah. So anyways, that's my Grateful Dead and Bob Weir story. Okay. American Beauty is the 5th studio album, 6th overall by American rock band Grateful Dead, 1970. Album continued the folk, rock, and country music style of their previous album, Working Man's Dead. Just incredible. Incredible. Both of these albums are incredible. And that whole folk rock, country rock thing, I think really hooked me. Just because the mixture, that and just the songs, period, right? The songs are great. American Beauty was the result of a prolific period of the songwriting partnership of Jerry Garcia and Robert Hunter, one that yielded 2 studio albums in 1 year for the Grateful Dead. This is one of the only times the band would return to the studio so quickly. However, unlike the previous effort where almost all the songs were written solely by the pair, the album saw more input from the rest of the band, including Phil Lesh's Box of Rain, which starts the album, right? Great song. Bob Weir's Sugar Magnolia, another constant, right, in their set list, still to this day. Both written with Hunter and Operator, Ron Thigpen and McKernan's only singing songwriter effort on a Grateful Dead studio album. The song is fine, I think. Compared to the rest of the album, it's fine. Album was produced after the discovery that the band's manager, Lenny Hart, father of drummer Mickey Hart, had renewed their contract with Warner Brothers Records without their knowledge and then skipped town with a sizable chunk of the band's wealth. That's fucked up. Like, yo, your dad just, like, can you, like, how did that, like, did he talk to his dad ever again? How did that work? Because I would think that'd be a problem. You know, like, I think that would probably mess up, you know, my relationship with my dad. Probably, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's kind of a big deal. Anyways, in between near constant touring gigging, recording began only a few months after the release of Working Man's Dead. Without their regular sound crew who were out on the road as part of the Medicine Ball Caravan Tour, which the Dead were originally scheduled to join. Instead, studio staff engineer Stephen Barncard replaced Bob Matthews as producer, a move that irks Matthews to this day. Matthews had co-produced the band's 2 previous albums. Barncard also mused, I had heard bad stories about engineers' interactions with the Dead, but what I found were a bunch of hardworking guys. Both Working Man's Dead and American Beauty were innovative at the time for their fusion of bluegrass, rock and roll, folk, and especially country music. Lyricist Hunter commented, we went back into American folk tradition, but being experimenters, nothing would do but that we try to reinvent that. Compared to Working Man's Dead, American Beauty had even less lead guitar work from Jerry Garcia, who increasingly filled the void with pedal steel guitar. It was also during the recording of this album that Garcia first collaborated with mandolinist David Grisman, a friend who had recently relocated to California following the dissolution of Earth Opera. I just bumped into Jerry at a baseball game in Fairfax, and he said, hey, you want to play on this record we're doing? Commented Grisman, whose playing is heard on Friend of the Devil and especially Ripple, both awesome songs, you know, it's just awesome. Howard Wells, another musician from outside the band, added keyboards to 3 songs. Drummer Bill Krautzman commented, Wells came to us through Jerry, who played with him in side projects. He had done session work with James Brown and the Four Tops before we brought him in for American Beauty. MIT student Ned Lagan, a jazz pianist who had corresponded with the band after attending their 1969 New Year's Eve concert at the Boston Tea Party, also contributed piano to Candyman, another awesome song. Lagan subsequently sat in with the band on occasion from 70 to 75. The magnetism of the scene at Wally Hyder's recording studio made it a lot easier for me to deal with the loss of my father and my new responsibilities. Some of the best musicians around were hanging there during that time, with Paul Kantner and Grace Slick from Jefferson Airplane, The Dead, Santana, Crosby, Nash & Young working there. Studio became jammer heaven. Oh, geez. You either love that or hate that. Thank the Lord for music. It's a healing force beyond words to describe. Though both albums focused on Americana songcraft, Working Man's Dead mixed the grittier Bakersfield sound with the band's psychedelic roots, whereas the mostly acoustic American Beauty focused more on major key melodies and folk harmonies. The vocals, yeah. Evincing the influence of Dylan and studio neighbors, friends Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young. Krautzman later explained, the singers in our band really learned a lot about harmonizing from Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young, who had just released their seminal album Deja Vu. Jerry played pedal steel on that record. Stephen Stills lived at Mickey's Ranch, and David Crosby enjoyed partying as much as we did, so our circles overlapped. Crosby has demurred on this point. Sometimes they have given us credit for teaching them how to sing, and that's not true. They knew how to sing. They had their own style, and they had the most important quality of it down already, which is tale telling. However, he also stated, the idea is when you hang out with other musicians to sort of cross-pollinate your idea streams, and that naturally happened between us on a level that was very rare. We would listen to what they were doing with time signatures and with breaking the rules, and it appealed to us a lot. Very cool. All right, let's get to the first track, Box of Rain. Let's do it. Bam. Vocal harmony, huge. Maybe the sun is shining, birds are winging, no rain. It's just beautiful music. It is. It's really great. Great album. What do you want me to do for you, to see you through? It's hard to explain. It's some kind of magic, you know, and that's the incredible thing about music, is that when it's incredible, it is magic. Music is magic. And this album has it. Maybe you'll find direction around some corner where it's been waiting to meet you. What do you want me to do? To watch for you while you're sleeping. Then please don't. The phrasing, it's huge, right? Phrasing. You find that you can see into another day. Maybe been seen before through other eyes on other days while going home.
sunlight, inch your way through dead dreams to another land.
That little phrase right there is 6 bars, right? So it's like all these odd, right? This odd phrasing. It kind of keeps your ear interested. Because it's not standard.
A box of rain will ease the pain and love and see you through. Just a box of rain, wind and water. Believe it if you need it. If you don't, just pass it on. Sun and shower, wind and rain, in and out the window like a moth before a flame. And it's just a box of rain. I don't know who put it there. Believe it if you need it, or leave it if you dare. And it's just a box of rain, or a ribbon for your hair. Such a long, long time to be gone, and a short time to be there.
Yeah, awesome. Awesome track. Awesome. This whole album and all Grateful Dead, all of it reminds me of the desert. It reminds me of it reminds me of where I was when I was digging into the Dead and listening to it. It just felt like that to me. Incredible song. Sung by Phil Lesh. Then G, time signature 4/4 with an occasional 2/4 measure. Yes, there are. Wow, look at this. It's just like broken down like this. Drawn from American folk and country musical roots. It is true of many Grateful Dead tunes, including most on American Beauty and their other, right? Okay. Lead vocalist. Song also featured 2 musicians who are not in the band. Dave Torbert played bass. Really? Okay. While Lesh played acoustic guitar, David Nelson plays the lead guitar. Jerry Garcia plays the piano. Bob Weir sings harmony with Lesh and Garcia. According to lyrics, Lesh wanted a song to sing to his dying father and had composed the piece complete with every vocal nuance but the words. If ever a lyric wrote itself, this did, as fast as the pen would pull. Lesh practiced the song driving to the nursing home where his father lay with terminal cancer. In an interview, Steve Silberman asked Hunter, the song Box of Rain began as a rough vocal outline from Phil Lesh. How does that process work? Hunter replied, scat singing, right. Yeah. He's just, singing melody, no lyrics. I'm able to translate people's scat. I hear English in it almost as though I write down what I hear underneath that. I hear the intention. It's a talent like the Rubik's Cube or something like that. And it comes easily to me, which might be why I like language poetry. Well, this is getting going a little deep right here. I can tell from the rhythms or lack of rhythms, from the disjunctures and the end stoppages, what they're avoiding saying. The meaning that they would like to not be stating there comes rushing through to me. I understand dogs. I can talk to babies. Okay, now we're on drugs. At first I was like, oh wow, this is getting a little bit deep. Like, oh, language poetry. What is that? That's like some type of, because I don't know about poetry. I don't know about any of that. Then once you start talking about, I understand dogs, I can talk to babies. I'm like, okay, now you're. I mean, I suppose there are other things that are more like I'm on drugs than understanding dogs. It's like my cat is right here, and it's like, do I understand her? I mean, to a degree, yes. To a degree, yes, I do. I can talk to babies. Sure, you could talk to a baby, but does that mean, Anyway, sorry, I'm reading into this too far. According to Hunter, by box of rain, I meant the world we live on, but Ball of Rain didn't have the right ring to my ear, so Bucks it became. And I don't know who put it there. Between 76 and 85, Lesh seldom sang with the group, confining his contributions to harmony on trucking due to vocal cord damage from improper singing. Whoa. Was he like, I'm like, how? They're not like growling or screaming or anything, you know, how? Interesting. Okay. Yeah, incredible song. So this is A, B minor 7 with A in the bass, A4. I assume they're saying that's just like a sus, like an A sus. D, A minor, E minor, C, G, B minor. Incredible album. All right. And we're off to the races. And continuing on. I mean, this whole album is just awesome. It really is. It really is. It's really good. All right. Friend of the Devil, another favorite, is coming up next. I'll catch you then later.